The Devil of the Shield Devil, the Shield Hero, Naofumi Iwatani. Traumatic experiences combined with edginess can sometimes be, it can make for an interesting comic. That was something I learned from reading Goblin Slayer and Shield Hero. Both had dark subjects. Well, sort of dark. Goblin Slayer had a more darker subject, but both had a subject that not most people in the West would have the balls or the stones or the spine to even touch on or show in comics in detail or allude to. For Shield Hero, it was the subject of false rape allegations, which admittedly don't, as far as I know, don't happen as frequently as rape accusations, but yeah, they still happen, and they are ignored vehemently by the media. Well, most of the media, anyway. And I just kind of liked this character's response to being falsely accused. He snapped. He went from being a typical anime protagonist to pulling a 180. He became cynical, kind of spiteful. No, not kind of. He did become spiteful. A little bit vindictive in some way. And I loved every second of it because it's not often I see a protagonist get all edgy in anime and manga. Same within comics. Like, the only characters in American comics that I see go edgy are... Well, Red Hood kinda, although he's kind of been toned down recently. And the Punisher, who also has been toned down a little. Well, actually, no, he might not have been. I haven't been paying attention to his comics as much. But those are the only two that I can imagine actually being edgy characters in comics. And this was a traumatic experience for him. Like, I have to imagine being accused of that is traumatic for any guy out there or any girl. It happens more to men than women, as far as I know. And yeah, if you're a guy and you haven't gone into the dating world yet, yeah, I would say you could probably sympathize with this guy. Hell, I don't even date, and I sympathize with him. With the way some women act now, yeah, I can't blame him for pulling that personality turn that he pulled. I mean, he was treated like shit before. The guys who were supposed to be his allies turned on him like it was nothing. And they already had a prejudice against him because he was the Shield Hero and he was unaware of it. Like, he was unaware of a lot of stuff, and he only learned about certain norms and stuff after it was too late, and it infected him and affected him in a negative way. And he had a very natural response to it. I would have been pissed too. I would have called the person who accused me a bitch and a whore and all that other stuff if I was angry enough. Hell, I probably would have been angry enough. And despite all of that, despite how much darker of a personality he develops because of that, Naofumi isn't completely devoid of compassion and empathy. You see this in the way he treats Raftalia. He doesn't... no one would party with him after he was accused falsely. Everyone thought he was a rapist. The only one who showed him a modicum of decency was the blacksmith, who he actually wanted to punch him after he heard the news, but he decided that something about Naofumi's eyes made him think, yeah, there's no way he did this. So his only choice was to get a slave to fight for him, because he is a shield. He can't fight, he can only defend. And if you have people in your party, that increases the experience you get to level up. This is a very RPG game, or story, just to let you know in advance. And from there, he doesn't treat her badly. She actually expects him to treat her badly. He doesn't. He buys her a ball to play with, cuts her hair, doesn't get mad at her when she wets the bed. And she's like she's like him. She's traumatized as hell from what she's experienced. So, yeah, there's that. But you do see him gradually regain some of that positiveness that he once had. Like, there was some good in him. There's still good in him. It's just buried under a veneer of hate and anger and cynicism. Like, the best way I would describe him is he's kind of like, well, in some ways I'd compare him to John Constantine. Like, John Constantine wants to help people, but he's also a cynic, and he's He has less than altruistic reasons for helping people. Naofumi helps people and feels good doing it, but he usually does it for a price, or he has reasons, or he gets motivated to help them in exchange for something else. But he doesn't go out of his way and say, "Look, you owe me that. So, like, I'll do this for you, but you owe me." He doesn't do that. He does it. He sometimes does it afterwards, like to get paid or something. He's also not above threatening merchants to get a fair deal because they were trying to screw him over after he was accused. And it's really a good underdog story. You see he has the country against him, he has the king against him, he has the other three cardinal heroes against him. It's a very underdog story, and you just love to see him rise up. And the title of the series perfectly matches the story of what's going to happen. The rising of the shield hero, you see him rise up. Now, I compare that to modern comics where it's like they just get everything handed to them. Well, they did. They might have changed that, but I kind of like to see a gradual build-up of a character, see them rise up to be this great thing, and not just have it handed to them. That feels, well, not as interesting. And it's also kind of sad because there are these moments where you see him become more and more lost in darkness and hate and anger. It's only because of Raftalia that he's saved from this. And actually at one point he nearly loses her because he was forced to duel this douchebag Motoyashu. And then one of Motoyashu's party members cheated, and then he and the king were just going to let it happen. Well, the king was anyway. I think Motoyasu was just... He's such an idiot that he probably didn't really see it and didn't believe mine would cheat for him. But he expects her to leave him and go to Motoyasu. He expects Raftalia to leave him and go to Motoyasu's party. She doesn't. She bitch slaps him, which I loved. I love seeing that prick get just brought down a peg or two. But before she did all that, as he was like going into his despair of losing his only party member that was helping him, and realizing that no matter what he does, he's screwed in this country, he activates what's called the hate shield, or no, the wrath shield, or something like that. And so there is darkness in him. There are these dark abilities connected to him that he uses. He's not a pure hero, which I like. He's very much kind of an anti-hero. He's like a combination of an anti-hero and a traditional hero in some ways, because he does do good things. He just doesn't do them for heroic reasons. But he does become slightly more heroic as time goes on, and he loses some of the edge, which is sad, because I like the edginess of it. And he's not all self-righteous, like a lot of comic book characters I see are. He's not really saving the world because he thinks it's the right thing to do. He's saving it because he wants to go home. Because this is an isekai, he was summoned to their world, and he can only go home if the waves end. And he wants to go home. After he was accused, that was the first thing he said. He's like, okay, why was I brought here just to be treated like this? Send me home. And as much as the king wanted to, he couldn't, because the only way they can do that is either A, if the waves are over, or B, if all the other cardinal heroes died, and then they'll have to summon new heroes. And throughout the story, you just see Naofumi, you see him grow back into that, well, to get back to who he was before in some way. Well, not in some way, in a little bit, little by little. And he makes new friends and acquaintances and allies. And you kind of get to see different sides to him. You see the vindictive and spiteful side to his enemies like Mine and the King, who are renamed to Trash and Bitch. You see his benevolent side towards Raftalia, Melty, and Philo. You see his friendlier side with the Scythe hero and the blacksmith. There are different sides to him, which I like. I like characters who have like veneers to them, like layers. That there are different things to different people. It's kind of like how actual people are. I feel some way like that's someone I can identify with. with people I get along with, I'm nice. With people I don't get along with, I'm a prick. With my sibling, I'm kind of an asshole. Then again, who isn't an asshole to their siblings, so that might be normal. Also, Naofumi is also an older sibling in the story, so there's something like that for me to identify with. The only difference is he actually was able to help his sibling back when his brother had some, well, let's just say issues going on in the family. Naofumi also has something else I like. He has permanent resting bitch face, or just a permanent scowl on his face. I had that problem as well. So there's some other things for me to identify with. The only difference is mine is natural. His was a result of being falsely accused, and the treatment he received in Melromark after being falsely accused. So there's some things for authors to look at and say, okay, they're like, how can I make my character relatable? I see that with Naofumi a lot. He has relatable qualities. He responds in a way that feels natural. I feel like most men who were accused of the things he were accused of, they would have that response. Or something like it. I don't know if... I think maybe Naofumi might be an extreme example. They'd probably go through confusion and anger. Or probably the 7 stages of grief. Naofumi, no, he just went straight to anger. And he never left it. In a funny way. And another thing is he has flaws. His cynicism does cause problems from time to time. Like when allies are trying to get in touch with him, he doesn't believe them sometimes. Like when some people from a different country were coming to make contact with him, his attitude was the reason they didn't come back. Or something like that. That was something they cut out of the anime and manga, I believe. And really, I just think this is something I like about manga in general. They give their characters personality quirks that are, well, it makes them stand out. For Naofumi, it's this perpetual scowl on his face. For Goblin Slayer, it's, well, social awkwardness in a way, like social ineptitude, I believe. And this is true for Naofumi. He's cynical, spiteful, kind of not always... Like, he may say some things that people would think, okay, you really shouldn't have said that. Like, why would you say that? He does say that, but there are also positives. There are positives to him. He is, and not just the stuff I've mentioned already. There's also the fact of, like, he is a good person underneath. Actually, no, not. That is something I said already, but yeah, I'll reiterate just anyway. He is a good person. It's just really hard to tell sometimes with him because of how he acts. And I think by the end of the web novel, he sort of regained some of what he lost in the beginning. And that's all I can really think to say, is just that. I feel like there was more. I feel like there's more I could be saying, but with these videos and videos in general, it's kind of like what Jeremy Johns once said. I can't remember his exact words, but it was like, later on I'll think of something I should have added, but you know what? I decided to wing it with this one. And, well, actually I'm winging it with a lot of the videos I do, but that's beside the point. The point is, I hope this just gave you some ideas, if you're a writer, on what to do. Like, give them a unique personality. Like, even if you don't think it's unique, like, if you think, oh, this has already been done with certain characters, there's nothing wrong with being repetitive in some ways, because it is hard to make things unique now because everything has been done ad nauseum to some regard. So, yeah, like, I've given up on trying to be original. I mean, I try to be, but I've given up on the idea that every idea I have is original, because everything has been done already, or mostly everything has been done already. So I just take ideas from other stuff that's come before or has been done already. And I hope that's what this does for you. It just gives you some idea of a character who could be similar to Naofumi. I mean, I tried that with a cattle punk / steampunk story, but not exactly in personality. It was sort of different. Just, yeah, like, take these ideas and run with it. Like, make it your own. Put your own spin on it. or just take it for a story and put your own spin on some ideas this gives you. And, yeah, that's all. Give them unique personalities, give them unique abilities, or what you consider to be unique. Try to make them relatable. I mean, sometimes that's accidental, because there are things about characters that are relatable that an author probably would never have thought in a million years would be relatable. Like, the Scowl thing is probably unique for me. But it may not be, you never know. But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And I've probably said yeah a lot in these videos. So, have a nice day. Remember, the game was rigged from the start, and goodbye.